Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective Podcast. I'm Ten Types, as I was joined by Uncommon Fossil.
Hello, and very glad to be here today.
Yep, and today we are talking about obviously the Pokemon TCG, specifically Pokemon TCG Live, and some new updates coming to the game with the new expansion / new era, Mega Evolution. And obviously it's bringing the Megas, but it's bringing a lot of really cool things that I want to talk about. One thing that I'm very excited to talk about here today. But Uncommon Fossil, what are your thoughts on like the live stuff? Because I think you know a lot more about Live than I do.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just go over the update, which has a few things. Obviously, it brings the megas. We're done with the Scarlet and Violet era. Megas are here, but they're still EXs, so it doesn't feel like that huge of a change. They've done. Let's see what happened. They tweaked the rank ladder for people that care about that. I don't think you or I are too worried about that, but you drop now a max of 8 ranks, which is like two of the levels, two of the ball levels, which is probably a fair balance. I would think is probably a good move there. And then the other thing, which just to note, is the daily quest, the progress before your progress reset every day. If you had one unfinished, or even if it was either didn't start it would get re-rolled, or if you had progress in it, it would get re-rolled too. But now, if you have progress, it stays. So you could re-roll it, but you have to manually do it. Like if you have some progress on a challenge you don't really like, just you're gonna have to use your reroll for the day to replace that. So just be aware of that. You don't want to wait a few days and find that something's sitting there not making progress on you.
Yeah, which I think is fine. They've been like tweaking the because live, they've like to tweak things small and
Yeah.
like a little bit at a time, and sometimes it's like kind of silly, but I think they've been improving the battle pass and the ladder and like stuff like that, making it a little bit better. And with the third quest being the more deck specific one, I think it's fine. I think the one thing I don't like about it is that it like is the same two types every day for like how is it the whole like 3 months or is
It's
it
the
not
whole
3 months?
time. Yeah. Well, okay. So because the other thing to tie in, it's yeah, it's the whole time. Now this time it is 7 weeks, so 49 days. This is a short one,
Oh,
shorter
okay.
than most. And they're keeping it 100 tiers, so I think we'll be fine doing it. Yeah, there's the two. They've increased the points and stuff for the daily quests, so it should be okay. But the third one is specific to, I think, the decks that they give up for free. I believe on the battle pass, right? It's a fire. I mean, it's the fighting, and then what the other one is, what, lightning? I think.
Psychic. It's guard, Mega
Oh yeah,
Gardevoir,
yeah,
Mega
Mega
Lucario. Yeah.
Gardevoir. So it's those are the two types, I believe, in the special challenges, and they always keep it focused on, I think, the free decks they give out, which are kind of, and they usually do some of the top decks for the new thing. So I think the way it is you can get through the battle pass by just doing the first two if you do the first two challenges every day. Now this one's shorter than most, so you probably have to do it pretty much every day, and you'll be fine. If you skip too many days, you might have issues because it's like another what? It's usually like 10, like 9, 10 weeks. So it's 2, 3 weeks shorter. If you find you behind, you might have to do that third challenge sometime just to catch up. But you don't have to do the third challenge, which I think is good. I don't want it to be a game where you have to grind like for a long time every day to complete the battle pass. I think that's a good. I don't like game. There are games like that, and I don't like that type of feeling.
Yeah. Also, I think people sometimes complained about the fact that once you reach the top, there's not much to do. So, in
Yeah.
some ways, this is kind of addressing that, making it harder to get to the top, which is a little weird. But I think it like kind of accomplishes what they're looking to do, while also still giving you like stuff to do that is obtainable. So I think it's fine. I don't have too much of an issue, especially because it's not that hard to get to the top still. If you like want to, you should be able to. The challenges I think are really easy to do. So yeah.
Yeah. The first two challenges are pretty easy. Obviously, you have to play a few games, which will get you some points too for it. So, yeah, I think they should have something ongoing and get to the top, because it still doesn't feel good. I think when you get to the top and don't get anything, but at least that period of time is shorter with this. So that's the plus there. And the other thing with the new update is is the Prism Energy is broken again, or still. I'm not fully sure. So you weren't aware about it when we were talking before the podcast, but um, there's a maintenance note. They're going to address it on the 30th, on Tuesday, the last Tuesday of September, supposedly. There's been issues with it in the past, so hopefully it gets sorted out. And something with Mega Venusaur's one attack or ability. So um, I haven't checked on that. So I tried out Prism Energy just to check it out, put it in one of my decks, play the game. The cards in the deck, you can attach the card, but it just shows up as just a blank circle, just a white circle on the Pokemon where the symbol should be, and then it doesn't register as an energy. So it's a useless card in the deck. You can play it, which is good. Some cards, didn't actually weren't even playable cards. You can play it, but it actually doesn't do anything. So, obviously they need to get that sorted out.
Yeah, that seems like such a weird issue. I mean, yes, like issues can happen, but obviously this one's kind of it like seems like there's kind of like forgot to program in something. Um, it was working before. I mean, this I'm pretty sure it wasn't this bad before. Like it would kind of work, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
I think
people I
right. I
would have heard
think
about it if not, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there are problems. Well, there's obviously problems with live, and I think, like you mentioned, like the luminous energy and stuff. Sometimes those things don't work, and I think there's occasional, but somehow there's something wrong with the prism energy. I don't know if they changed something or if some interaction with the new card caused the issue. And when I said before things, I know people want to get the full expanded set of cards. But if this is the quality of those older expanded cards, right, which was Prism Energy, right, it was a reprint of a card it was already in expanded, not playable and expanded, but at least the card was in the database. If they need a bunch of work for every card to get them working, it's going to be a while before they can sort that out.
Yeah, and then there's just more things to keep track of, more like interactions. So, and
Yeah,
as I've said, and I think you kind of agree that like full expanded isn't a super fun format. I mean, there's some cool things in it, but there's a lot of like kind of unfun stuff that gets taken out with live expanded format. So I wouldn't mind. I mean, expanded's a format that's being less and less supported. It's not like it's completely unsupported. As I mean, we got a new ban and like stuff like that. But
right.
if they decide to make it a little bit newer, I don't think that would be a huge issue. But that's not like actually what's happening here. It's just that they're not programming it in or like getting it to work.
Right. I mean, the biggest frustration to me, and I think, is that it doesn't work because they can't get it to work. Right. It's a reflection of their inability to program properly.
Yeah,
And
and
until
like
they,
all from top to bottom, like all the way. I don't know exactly
yeah,
whose fault it is, but there's definitely some issues that shouldn't be issues.
right, that have been there from day one, and they just somehow are struggling more than they should to get them fixed. So, I guess they've still said we're going to get full expanded someday. So I think that's the plan, but who knows when. Um, Now, I think the big thing you want to talk about is the trainer trials, right? There's nothing. Is there anything else we need to talk about before that?
Yeah, I'd like to. You mentioned or we kind of talked about the decks, specifically the fighting
Yeah.
one, the Mega Lucario deck, and I'll say, I've seen that deck like so much. I've seen like mostly fighting stuff, mostly Mega Lucario, because it's free and it's like pretty good. It's kind of cool. But I've
Yeah.
just seen that like a lot. So I want to mention that. And actually, I played one match in the new trainer trial. I saw that maybe I don't know. I'm not actually sure. I saw some fighting stuff. My
Yeah.
opponent was really slow and bad, unfortunately. So
Ye-
yeah,
Uh,
but and it took a while to find a match.
Well, okay, yeah. So that's what I want to talk about because it ties into the expanded topic here. Because obviously, expanded is there in the beta, and I don't think many people play it because Pokemon can't doesn't take it as serious. I would say as other things, but so which I haven't played expanded in a bit. And there are issues with trying to find games with that. But when I've been doing the trainer trials, I it's harder. It's noticeably tougher to get matchups. In fact, I end up having to exit out occasionally.
Yeah.
When I go into standard, I get a matchup right away. When I go in for the trainer trials, it takes a bit, and I don't think they're really trying to optimize my opponent matchup. I think there aren't that many people playing it, which is a concern with the viability of alternate formats in live anyway. If there's not enough player base, that's a problem.
Yeah, I will say, it's like they don't really talk that much about the trainer trial, or trainer trials in general. Like they talk about them some. It was like a kind of a big deal when it was announced, but I don't know, it's not something that they like hype up or anything like that really, except for Twin Battle for some reason. But which again, I stand by. It's like definitely the worst in my opinion, and from what I've heard from other people, I haven't heard anyone really say anything good about it. Not that it plays horrendously or anything like that, but it's just not exciting. But anyways, I
Yeah.
think the current format and trainer trial is like really cool. I guess I don't think it's perfect by any means, and I'll talk about it. Obviously, we're gonna talk about it a bunch, and it has some uh flaws. I don't know, some things that like make it kind of weird, but
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like
Do
they
you want
could
to talk?
push it more. Give a free deck as well. I think you said that in the past. That'd be good.
Give people a free deck, right? Because people that aren't used to deck building, and it can be a deck that has based on cards that a lot of people have. So if they're worried about giving out too much stuff, that's not an issue. Do you want to talk about some of the other formats too, or just are we mostly going to dig into the current
Um,
trainer?
I mean,
Because
there's only
because I want to.
three formats, right, for this rotation.
Yes. Yeah, so I want to talk about it a little bit. Should we talk about that first or at the end? That's my question.
The other one. Let's talk about the last one first, I guess. Which
Yeah,
is, or no, let's talk about GLC. So GLC is back. So there's 7 weeks, as you said. The
yeah,
first 2 weeks are like the current one, which we'll talk about in a second. But then this second, or sorry, the fourth and third week are GLC, which is a singleton monotype non-rule box format. So one of each card, only one type of Pokemon, and like single prizes, and it is in essentially expanded format. There are some minor differences there, but essentially that's what it is. And it's a pretty well established alternate format, which I'd say is like semi-official. I mean, there's like really one main format, so everything outside
yeah.
that's a bit like it is pretty far away from standard, but it's a cool and a popular format. And so I'm happy to bring it back. I think it makes and it's a fun format as well. That there are deck lists for online, kind of, which is important for allowing people to get into it easier. The lists are
Right.
mostly not live built, but they can be
Yeah.
adapted relatively easily. So, kind of easy.
Well,
So,
I don't. I'm going to push back on that. Is someone you're very familiar with the card set in Pokemon,
yes.
and particularly the ones that are playable on live even more so. So you're able to look at a deck list, say, okay, I can't play this card, that card, that card, and you quickly know what the similar substitutions are. Most people logging into live can't do that easily. I don't think.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know like immediately. I think when I say like substitute, I mean just like kind of checking in random cards and then going from there. Not like it's gonna lose potentially a lot of the stuff that made it good in the first place, but it is still playable. Then you can like update it from there. It's certainly easier than with the current trainer trial, the Mega Singleton format, where Singleton standard isn't established really at all. And there's
Right.
like if there you have no starting place. Here you have a starting place. Um, with GLC. So that's all. I don't know. I mean, it definitely isn't. It's not super easy to deck build, but it's not like horrible. I
No.
think you tried to build your decks by yourself, and you don't really have any experience. Didn't have any experience with GLC, and then it was like
Right.
uh, a long process because there's a lot of different cards. But ultimately, I don't know. I think it's a good format to have, right? I imagine you'd agree with.
Yeah, no, I think having an alternate format's very good for the game. I guess the question I have is, are there enough people playing it, right?
Yeah,
That's concerning, and obviously, what's the player base for live? Which I don't know. Pokemon certainly knows that. I imagine when GLC
surely they
comes,
know it, right?
well,
They
somebody knows
should
it, right?
know it. I don't know. They might just like not keep track of it. I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, that's true because they don't make money off the game, so maybe what they pay attention to is like how much the servers are costing, right? The more people play, the more the servers cost, I think. So
Yeah, so
they
they're
got to
getting
pay
their goal by
attention
making it
to
worse.
that. They're saving money, yeah. Like when GLC comes in in the weeks 3 and 4 in Mega Evolution, I imagine you'll find matches easier. I don't know if you'll at least at first. I don't know if people fall off doing it right, but there is a GLC base because GLC is the one that keeps coming back. I'm not a huge GLC fan, but of all the and I think there's better to me. There's been some better formats for the trainer trials than
Yeah.
GLC, but
Which
GLC is
ones?
the only one. Oh, I mean, GLC is the only one that's repeating here at this point.
Um,
I
yeah, but also like it hasn't been here. GLC hasn't been in it all the time. The one that they've focused on the most is that I think is Twin Battle. Um,
Yeah,
and they've like done a bunch of them repeated some.
yeah. This might be the first time they didn't do twin battles. The reason I think they like twin battles is that it was an easy one to start with for new players because you could just take a standard deck and just do some simple modifications for it. So it was easy for people to get into. It wasn't very interesting though, because the whole point is to deck build and have things different, and it wasn't different enough. I think, right? I think that's part of your issue with why you didn't like it either. It was too much like standard already.
Yeah, and if you want to play
Um,
standard, that's the only format you can definitely play. And then at
right.
that point, Twin Battle is a bit worse than standard. The cards aren't designed quite for it, and it's not that different. So it's just like a worse standard in that point. Like, why do you ever really play it?
Yeah.
Unless you just specifically want something different. But then it doesn't even, succeed that much at that. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I liked look I GLC's fine. I'm just not it's not the thing I played a ton in the past, so it's hard to be, focusing on one. It's type specific. Everyone listening, I'm sure knows what GLC is. So I'm not used to what the Pokemon mixes are. I have a good sense of a better sense of what the trainers you need in general now than that's the one good thing with having done it some. What the exact Pokemon mix? I have some decks I can kind of start from, but still new with it there. I like the one that was the expanded with the what common and uncommon cards only. I thought that was kind of interesting, a
Yeah,
little
I
little
thought that was
different.
cool.
But that one I think they just did one time and dropped it. Um, things that are things that are a little bit different than what people are used to is I like it more, and certainly GLC that there's a familiarity for a lot of people with GLC, which is why it's popular. Probably the ones that are less familiar, there's less people playing it, so Pokemon's not as likely to continue with them, is what I'm sensing. And then the other thing is they like having a theme because the third one, which we'll talk about, is Trick or Treat, which is themed to Halloween, obviously. And before that, there was they like to have ones with a theme to something, right? Like
Yeah,
it's been the second like the Twin Battles. Partly why they pushed it was the second 2 year anniversary of Live, right? So therefore, 2 years Twin Battles. They made that like the big format. So they like having some theme thing, which is okay. Although I don't, I'd rather just have good formats to play rather than something a little gimmick to try and make to make it just make it a good format to play. I don't really care if it
yeah. Well,
connects
I
with
think the
something.
thing that with the theming that is actually potentially important is the fact that it could get other people into it as they're like more aware
Yeah.
of it. Like Live has the like back to school theme or whatever, which as far as I'm aware isn't tied in. Wait, is that still what it is, or is that not
No,
what it
that one
is?
ended because in the new theme is they have again they changed the background and stuff because of the megas. I don't remember what they called it. I might be able to find it here, but they changed like they give new music and they change the background and all that stuff because that's part of what they like to do too.
Yeah, but I think it's like kind of cool. I mean, it's noticeable to an extent, if you're even
Yeah,
if you're not playing the format. So then it'll be like get you maybe a little interested, and then you might check it out, and then there might be more people playing it, which is important. But speaking of the third one here, which is for 3 weeks, the
yeah.
trick or treat format, the way this one works is it's the expanded card pool, except for every deck, which must play 4 rare candy and 4 switch, which I'm not gonna lie, it seems kind of boring. It's like play a stage 2 deck and put some switch in it. But like switch is a card that you can put in any deck, and like 4 switch is not necessarily what you're looking to include, but it's not like if you put 4 switch in every deck in standard, yes, it would make them worse, but like not that much worse. Um,
Right.
I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I
But yeah.
mean, because switching you need in decks in your deck. Now we have other cards besides just switch with like air balloon and prime catcher that does some of the switching too. So you don't want to do four, but that it's nothing terrible. Four rare candy. You rarely play that as well, but it's not too interesting. And I don't honestly fully see how it connects to trick or treat, but
It's like the treat is the candy and then the
okay. The switch is
trick
the
is
trick.
yeah. I'm not exactly sure. Um how like it's like oh like you get like you thought you were gonna get this and it switched and that's not what it is or something like that. I don't know. But I think it's like kind of the theming is kind of fun. Um, it's not like that fun, as I said. Like the decks are kind of generic. There are like more in like there are Pokemon that are like pumpkins and stuff that they could have done. I feel like, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't know why they made it 3 weeks also, because it's not the most interesting of the formats. It might be to me the least interesting of them.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
definitely agree with that.
so so I guess like you said, I hadn't really thought about it yet. This is one if you want to test decks beforehand, you can make you could play these decks in regular expanded if you wanted to build a deck and test it out if you want to hit the ground running from day one, which you can't usually do with these trainer trials. There's no way to play them
You
except
can do
what.
them. A lot of them are standard. Actually, no, most. I think you can do it with all of them except for GLC, but you'll just get like obliterated.
Okay,
Um, like playing
you,
singleton standard against standard decks is going to go really badly. But this is just like an expanded deck with a
that's true.
few different
That's
cards.
true. I could play the Mega Singleton deck in standard, which we'll get to that in a second. But so with the Trick or Treat deck, so I guess it's going to be a bunch of evolution decks. Stage 2 decks is what you would. I hadn't really considered it. So, but that obviously makes sense. You have 4 rare candy, so you're going to lean into that, which is fine. So that can make it a little more interesting. I guess the question is, what's there that walls off evolution? Is there anything that walls evolutions easily
Maybe. Oh, I was thinking
in the
everyone would
format?
play 4 rare candy, 4 switch, and 4 Badoo, and then your
Yeah.
opponent get rare candy. Um, And then
Oh,
also
yeah.
all their switches are going to be items, right? Because you're certainly not going to put. I can't imagine you're putting in like air balloon once you have 4 switch, right? So you can like trap stuff with
Right.
Badoo, which seems like kind of annoying. But anyways, I think it'll be
Yeah. Or
fine, I guess. But people probably won't play it that much because it's just like expanded, but like a little different.
Yeah, I don't know that people will play it much or not. So I don't know if there's any other anything else associated with, because it is the holiday theme that they're going with. So I imagine they might promote it with something, but I don't know that I saw anything about that, the trick or
Yeah.
treat. But and so yeah, so we'll see what that. So you want to talk, but now we'll get into the Singleton Showdown.
Yeah. So this format, the rules are pretty simple. Based on the name. It's singleton, one of each card, which is decent. Singleton works better. I've said this with like GLC because, or just generally a bigger card pool is better
Right.
for singleton. A decently big. There is such a thing as too big of a card pool because you don't want it to. You could like stop feeling like singleton if it's too big, but you want to be able to play different cards that do similar things. And yeah, I think Mega Singleton in standard is like a little sketchy for that, but then it says also you must include exactly one Mega Pokemon EX. This is interesting because it reminds me a lot of, and I don't really play Magic the Gathering, but it reminds me a lot of Magic the Gathering's Commander format, which is like super popular. And speaking of Commander, GLC was in some ways based around Commander, which is really interesting because like Commander is like the I don't know if the perfect format, but it's like a format that is very popular, and like a fan made format, the most popular fan made format.
Yeah, yeah, and then adopted by the company too.
Yeah.
Which I don't. GLC's kind of Pokemon does it like as a side event and things. But Commander's been even more adopted. And there's certainly a fan base for GLC, but Commander's I think a bigger part of Magic the Gathering than GLC is with Pokemon. So yeah, it's kind of like a Commander. Obviously, you get in and play like a regular Pokemon, no special rules for it, and it can be an evolution that you couldn't even start the game potentially with,
Yeah, it could be
which at this point,
prized. Well,
right, can be prized. I mean, I'm playing the Mega Lucario because that's what I have, and I
yeah.
didn't really want to craft anything for it, so that's what I got. So
Oh,
one
sorry.
one Mega,
I have a question related to that.
yeah.
Because so are the megas the same cost to craft as the regular EXs? I didn't check. I was wondering about that, but I haven't
Oh, that's a
looked
good
into it.
question. I talk a second. I will take a look at that. I'm in the deck builder,
Okay.
so
Yeah, but like, cause
let me.
the before the megas, the what V's and VMAX and GXs were more, and they reduced it with
Right.
the EXs. Do you have it there?
So let's see the craft. I want to
But
craft. Let's see. No, it's the same. It's 600, which I believe is the same as the regular EXs. So that's nice. It didn't go up in cost, which yeah, I should have checked. I wasn't thinking of checking on that. So, and it's still two black. It's two black stars in the
oh,
symbol for
okay.
rarity, and I think that's the same as the regular ones,
Yeah, I think so. For some reason, I thought it was a new rarity. I
regular
don't think it is.
EXs.
I think they just have a new rarity for like the highest rarity or something. Which I don't
Yeah,
really pay attention to that much. But yeah. Anyway, so you have a mega, which is like supposed to be the center point of your deck. A big difference. There's a bunch of differences between this and Magic's commander format, but Magic, you always have access to your commander. It's like a build around, which I feel like is supposed to be the idea of this. But as you said, you don't necessarily have it. Be an evolution, which you can't won't even play, can be prized. I need to play it normally. But so how much? I just played one game with this, and it wasn't a very good game. So like I didn't really experience very much from it. But how many of you played this?
well, since you once said a couple days ago, this is what you want to talk about. I've been playing it for the last 2 3 days. I've been a little busy, but I played it every day for the last couple days. I'll send you my deck list because my deck is obviously optimized. It's okay. I will say this: the weird thing about it is I have the one Mega Pokemon, but then I have the bunch of other EXs, and it seems like if you're trying to make it with this one really important, powerful Pokemon, it seems like that should be my only EX. I would
Yeah,
say.
no, that's definitely what I was thinking. And I've also been thinking. So actually, before this, I was kind of thinking like, wait, so are you sending your list on Discord?
Oh, I can do that. Hang on.
I thought
I,
you
sh- I
said you were
should.
sending it. Oh, you were
I
showing
said
it to.
it was just. It was
Anyways, anyway.
just.
Um,
No. Yeah. Talk a
okay,
second. I got it.
so I was thinking about like because Commander format has and Magic has a bunch of different like things. We've talked previously about adapting it to the regular Pokemon TCG. And we kind of came up with some things, but it wasn't perfect. Then then like I thought about it some. I saw some other people's takes on it, and I like kind of thought about it. And then this was released, and I was like, oh wait, no, this is like kind of like that. But then as you said, you have like an EX, or you have like a bunch of EXs that they also are like very important to the deck, and could be more
Yeah.
important. You can kind of just like ignore the mega, just play it like singleton standard. Um, I think it's a cool concept though, like building around this Pokemon. They could change it even more. Because I don't know, I feel like the format plays kind of meh, but conceptually it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think the general concept for this one's not bad. It's not something I would have thought of doing. And they're doing this to kick off the megas, right? So to get people, the megas are here, so the deck has to feature Omega. So I get that thought, but like the deck, the list is in Discord. If you need to like
Yeah,
import it
no,
or
I have it
something.
here as
You can read it.
in Limitless, which I'm showing,
Okay.
which it doesn't fit on the screen, but that's fine. It
Okay.
like the Pokemon all fit in like half the trainers.
Oh, because it's singleton. It's too
Yeah,
many cards, right?
yeah,
For that to happen. So yeah, so I play Pheasantipity because that just really. I was like, first I was building it without any other EXs, and I said, wait, I can play EXs. All right, I'm putting in Pheasantipity, right? Oh,
yeah.
Blood Moon Ursaluna. That seems all right. I haven't used it yet, but he has his place. I don't know about Sandy Shocks and stuff. Cornerstone Mask, because why not get a walling Pokemon in a Lunatone and a Soul Rock, right? That's nice in the deck. Get myself a little engine there. Dodrio, because I was not sure what to do. I want another basic Pokemon and gives me some draw and potentially an attacker. So kind of things I like. And I felt when I put together the one thing with it is like I feel comfortable putting together the trainers with it. Like the trainers, when I first put the list, I ended up with maybe 6 extra trainers and I pulled out. But I felt like I think I got pretty much all the trainers the trainer list I think is pretty good on
Wait,
it. I don't
okay,
know if you have
so
thoughts about that.
well, I have one thought. So why is Lieutenant
Good.
Surge's bargain in here?
Oh yeah, that one.
That for
Yeah, that one's a
fun?
little. Yeah, partly for fun. I haven't gotten to play it yet. It's in the deck. So yeah, that one's not so good. Probably. Um, I figure draw. I figure look, draw four. Right. I just draw threes. People still play draw. I was thinking, do I put a draw three supporter in, which I could have done. It's like, hey, I now have a draw four supporter. So
Yeah,
that's much better.
yeah. I mean, theoretically.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it's a fun card. It's a cool card. Well, it's
Part,
weird. I don't know.
I want to play. I want to use it at some point just to see how the game does it. Quite
Yeah.
frankly, I assume it works okay, but I assumed someone would have reported if it didn't work. But not that it's that good of a card in general, right? But you know, something different there. So I think Hassle's probably better. I guess I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, no, Hassel. I think Hassel's pretty good. I don't know. I kind of threw something together. I'm not really super happy with the list. It's a grass list with Mega Venusaur, um,
Okay.
which is like it worked fine the game I played with it, but not much really happened. But regardless, I think the format is kind of cool. We got a variety of trainers, including some that are weaker but still interesting. Um, and so I think it's again fun conceptually. I do think that it should be one like maybe just one two prizer. Um I feel like
Mm,
could be cool. Or sorry, one EX. It could be a two prizer, it could be a three prizer, or maybe you have no two prizers, one three prizer, and the rest single prizers. Um
right.
Also in terms of like I don't know, it gives you some interesting deck building options. I went yes, you went for a monotype deck here. I also went for a monotype deck, but you could do some stuff mixing types to have some interesting cards. It might get kind of boring. It might just be like, oh, I got my like Goldengo Dragapult Charizard deck or something. But
Well, right, because you could just do that, right? You could take your Goldengo deck and you could just slap in one Mega and put it in like an evolution. I could just slap in Lucario EX
well,
and
no,
just
but it's
ignore it.
singleton. So like
Oh, it's Singleton. That's right. I forgot. So yeah, so that deck doesn't work. So you
you
could
can just
take an
like
old Singleton deck
yeah,
that was good and just stick a Mega in, which obviously isn't what that's going against the spirit, right? So hopefully you're trying to honor the spirit too.
yeah. Hopefully, and I don't know. I kind of wanted to see what other people were playing to get a gauge. As I said, I just played one. I want to maybe play some more, but I mean, I've been a little busy. That's why I haven't done it too much. But also, I played the one game and it took like so long to find an opponent, and they were so slow, and they were not the
Yeah.
best, shall I say. So yeah, it wasn't like a super enjoyable experience. Um, I don't know. I feel like if it was expanded card pool or like Live's expanded card pool, that'd be better. I like kind of said that as I said with Singleton, you want that larger card pool. And
Right.
having GLC is a cool format. However, being limited to one type, honestly, in terms of engines, really reduces it as like your engine has to be like I don't know if it's like lightning, you have to be playing like Sub Strike on GLC. If it's like fighting, you like the Lunatone Soul Rock here, that's gonna be really good. If you're not playing fighting, it's like bad. And so I don't know. I feel like there's some cool potential with it, but it's not quite reached here. The trainer trial, if they like made it so that you always start with your Mega or something like that, that could be interesting. I was thinking about Pokemon TCG having a commander format, and I think
Yeah.
it should be like a basic you always start with or something kind of like that. Um, Obviously, it's also you have the four-player aspect of that format, which Live is not going to have. But
No.
although I think it could be, actually no, it wouldn't really. That's more so like an in-person thing. But ultimately, um, having more um having like a focus and like a theming of a deck is pretty cool. You're talking about like a spirit, and I think the spirit's what makes these trainer trials cool. Um, but again, it's like they're pretty minor. So if they were, pushed a little more, because I think like the Halloween theming is kind of fun. Then you have like a Halloween themed deck, even if you're not required to have a super Halloween themed deck. You lean more into that. That's cool. But then again, also there just aren't
Right.
that many people doing it, so it's not like the theming doesn't feel so strong there.
Yeah, I mean, like for Halloween, there's a lot of Halloween related Pokemon, right? They could put, you could put together a list of a bunch of Pokemon to choose that you have to use or something, or choose, or restrict it to, a list of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Although the tougher you make it to build, the less people will play it. So if they wanted to make it a bigger thing, well, first they need to make it ranked. Then you'd see more players because people want the rewards and the ranking. So you would it would probably double, if not more. I think if you made the format ranked, which they could
Yeah.
do.
In terms of making the
Uh,
format rank, though, I will say I think the list will become more boring.
yeah.
And like I think it does need more people, so I think that might be the right play. Um, and like
Well,
having a ranking, just like a trainer trial ranking, and then it encourages you to play well, but also adapt to different formats well on top of that,
Right.
which is cool.
Well, or the other thing I'm thinking, which was related to this, is they could give some extra rewards for doing this. Because when you play, you get the most rewards by playing ranks, which means you get the most rewards by playing standard. Because as you move up the ranks, you do get rewards for that. So, um, by playing either the expanded beta, which they don't care about as much, or the trainer trials, which they care about, and that's kind of the nice thing that they brought to live. You're giving up less rewards to play this format, so I think they need to they probably need to have at least match the rewards of ranked, if not give it even, I would say even give it a little bit extra reward, because there's always going to be less people playing it, but now it gives it a little incentive for people to try it out, and some people will like it and will stick with it.
Yeah. Um, in terms of the what's it called? The Singleton Showdown, what are there
Yeah.
changes that you'd make to it?
Um, I mean, probably the idea of no other EXs. I think I would probably make it single prize other than one mega and everything else single prize. I think I would do that. Um, I don't think I'd make it monotype like GLC, because as you talked about, we need these engine cards, because with singleton standard is just tough. Like, because the trainers are, you're not getting great trainers, right? You're playing trainers that you'd almost never play in a standard deck, and it takes you a bunch of extra turns to get set up. So that's not great. You guys got to be prepared for slow games where both players are going to brick for like 3 or 4 turns at the start of the game. That just because you brick like a bunch of turns, you still could win with this format. Or obviously the game can stall out in the middle for anybody too, because the randomness is a bigger issue. So um, I would probably get rid of the other EX Pokemon in it, and I don't know any other changes I'd make per se though.
Yeah, I was thinking about, as I said, I've been thinking about Pokemon TCG Commander a bunch, and there you have a like certain types you can use based off of your commander. So
Yeah.
um with your deck, you had a fighting type Pokemon, but then it also, the way it works is all the types shown on the card are the types you can use in your deck. So then, like Mega Lucario has obviously fighting, but then it also has, like in its retreat cost, is colorless, and then in its weakness as psychic. So then you have three types, because I think the
Right.
issue potentially with having any type is that then people are going to all play like the same engines. Like I don't know. I mean, I think the engines aren't amazing, so I don't think it's a huge issue. But like say the reason DLC that would be an issue in expanded slash GLC is because then you'd have these engines that are all like kind of similar. The ones I keep thinking of are like colorless, which you can play in like any deck. But in GLC, you I guess I mean you can't play colorless in any deck. You can just play like a specific type. Um,
Yeah.
but I think then the engines also get kind of similar to each other within the types. So I think a little bit of mixing means that like you can have these interesting type combinations. That's like kind of
Yeah.
complicated, not what I'm expecting from live, but I think that would be cool. I don't know. Again, you are restricting things, so it could have issues for
All right. So
deck building.
yeah. So quickly, because we only have 8 megas right now. So I just do this
No,
is what
what? Oh, sorry. There's a
live.
mega of every type as well. There's 10 megas.
Uh oh, there's 10 megas. Yeah, you're right, and there are only 10 types in Pokemon TCG. So
Okay.
as you're proud to say. So
Yes.
um so you have the grass, Mega Venusaur grass with fire and colorless. You got Manectric with lightning, fighting. Just those two, because it doesn't have a retreat
Oh
cost. So
yeah.
lightning, fire, and you have Mega Absol with darkness, grass, colorless.
Yeah. Wait, sorry.
Let's
What
see,
what
Mega.
list are you looking at?
I'm in live,
Oh, okay. It's like
so
it seems like
I
some
just
random
did the
order.
filter, and yeah, I just did the filter. So don't click the Mega under stage to try to filter it, because it doesn't work. So
No, that's
because
different.
that's
That's oh
I
yeah.
know. But the first time I was filtering it, that's what I clicked. It says, "Oh, there's megas. I want to see the megas." Click, and it's like, wait, I don't see anything.
Yeah.
So, Kangaskhan, all we have is color. Oh no, colors, and you have fighting, because that's their weakness. Make a Latias, you can play dragon, colorless, fire, and psychic. So that gives you the most there. And you got some good partners for it too. Mega Mawile with the metal, fire, colorless. Mega Camera Up with fire, water, colorless. Mega Gardevoir is just two types, psychic and oh no, it has colorless. Sorry,
Oh,
and darkness.
and fighting because resistance.
Uh, oh, this one has resistance. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, but
So
did you
I was
say
ignoring it.
resistance from? Do you say Mawile?
Oh, I forgot that. Yeah, Mawile's got grass resistance. So I did not say that. Thank you. It's the visuals.
Yeah.
It's almost unreadable in live. That's why I'm yeah. I missed out on that. Lucario, were you gonna say something?
Oh no, I'm just yeah, live has issues.
Yeah, and they always spend a lot like updating the visuals and stuff, right? And a lot of times the visuals make it a little tougher. So, but to read. But anyway, at least you can click it and make it bigger and live, and it doesn't usually crash. So fighting with Lucario, psychic and colorless, and then last, Mega Absol got water, metal, and colorless in it. So, yeah, I mean, so you're getting basically three types for what most of them. I think we only had the two types for the colorless Pokemon, but
Yeah,
otherwise,
and lightning because of retreat there, which is
oh
like
right, without a
interesting
reach.
and it's like something to think
Yeah,
about. I don't know. Comment
I
down
mean, I
below
think
if you want to see us like play Pokemon Commander. Um, I don't know.
I think I just got you got to go with Mega Latias though, right? You now I have Charizard and I got Dragapult, I got Pidgeot. I'm kind
No,
of
you
liking.
don't.
I'm
You
thinking.
don't have Charizard. You have the because it's
Oh,
darkness.
I can't. Right, I have the EX I don't want. You're right.
Yeah.
I can't play the
Um,
Darkness
I was
Charizard.
also thinking like
You're right.
for Commander it would be like one like one rule box Pokemon. I feel like would be
Okay.
a little more interesting there, and then like maybe not just standard. I don't know. You could just do it with standard with like um a mega as well if you wanted.
Right. I mean, depending if like if we were gonna play it, if you're gonna play it in live, it has to be standard because that's the only way you can do friends matches.
Yeah. But
Which
then if
I
you
also will say, go on.
but then Commander, I was thinking like fully go Commander where it's four people, 100 cards,
Okay.
and like reworking a lot of like reworking the rules, like making 10
Oh, okay.
prizes and your prizes like you take prizes when like you get knocked out, so it's like health or something. But
Okay.
anyways,
You run out of right. Yeah, when you run out of prizes, you're out of the game.
yeah, to
You
like
don't
change
win
table
by
dynamics.
yes. So but you get cards. So you have more cards in your deck then, or in
Uh
your hand.
yeah.
When you get knocked out, I assume. So it kind of balances it some. That's interesting. I mean, because I was thinking either that or you do it so you could play it in the TCG simulator. But that again is two players. So you're going to do four players, then either you're going to have to start coding a whole bunch here, or it's going to be IRL, right?
Well,
Or I
there are
guess you
different things. There's I think I saw someone do this on Untap, which we've done Untap. It's kind of
okay.
bad, right?
Oh, that's right. You that one because that's just a generic tabletop simulator. So the
Kinda,
potential is
yeah.
there.
Like I
I
don't
mean,
remember. It has like some specifics and some general stuff.
it has like a huge variety of games that's intended to play, right? So, you can also like roll your dice off the tabletop and
Oh
stuff,
no,
which is
no,
kind
that's
of
that's Tabletop Simulator, which actually might have been
oh,
what they're
okay.
doing. A tabletop or Untap is kind of like PCG Sim, but it's like for
Oh,
different
okay.
games. But this Tabletop Simulator is 3D. It can cause motion sickness. I think watching
Oh,
it, like playing it, I wouldn't think it would, but watching it might.
okay. All right. So this is a 2D one. Okay. But a 2D one meant to play a variety of games,
Yeah.
not just card games. Is that correct?
I don't know. I think it's
Or is it
mostly card.
just
I think it's
card
card
games?
games.
Maybe.
I don't know. I know there's Commander, Magic the Gathering Commander. I know there's
Okay.
Pokemon, and I know Pokemon doesn't work quite right. Specifically because I made a cube for a cube draft. We're getting pretty off topic. That is fine. It's fine. Yeah. So I made a cube for like a draft, and then you have a bunch of cards, like a bunch of different, say, Pikachu's that like do different things. Then they import it, and then it like turn them all into the same Pikachu, which is obviously not what I want. And yeah, so it has like issues. It's not like it's all right though, I guess. I don't know. I haven't messed with it too much. Um, but yeah, I mean, you mentioned PCG Sim, which is like good, but it doesn't do quite what you're looking for. I was wondering if you could do it like two different games or something. I don't know. I'm sure there's a solution. If anyone knows, leave that down below in the comment on one of our videos. Um, but yeah, I don't think there's a clean solution. Tabletop Simulator. it is okay, but it's not like perfect. There was no great solution.
I guess like the PTCG Sim, and if you're in Discord and sharing your, well, you can't share your screen per se because you don't want people to see what's in your hand, right? But you could then tell people that you're attacking some other Pokemon, but you kind of need a way to see what's all in play at once easily, and I'm not sure how to sort that one out. I guess.
Yeah. But anyways,
Okay.
I think that
Yeah.
there's like maybe something there. Certainly not for live. I mean, if
No.
live got really good, figured everything out. Something like that could be cool if people were interested in it, but it's still like complicated as well. Because you talked some about deck building, but like deck building singleton is definitely difficult. Especially if you're not really sure what you're doing. Some people will just like
Yeah.
not really be able to build a deck at all. The way to do it, I think, is just like kind of start chucking stuff into a deck and see where you end up, and then you can change it from there. And your deck will be far from perfect, but at least you'll have somewhere to start. But some people can't even get to that starting block because they want to make
Right.
something good and they're just not really happy with making something bad, which is very understandable.
Yeah, I mean, don't be if you're not good comfortable deck building, don't be afraid to give it a try. Especially because like people for these formats don't know, a lot of people aren't that good at deck building, or even it's a new format you're trying to figure stuff out. The other thing that I think could make it better, besides ranked, which would get encourage people, is if you could do friends matches, which would then allow. Well, first we could like play each other when we talk about the Mega Singleton Showdown. That would be nice, but also then there would be probably some tournaments, and once you get tournaments then you get deck lists out there, and it just helps develop things, right? And they're switching formats around, so I don't think things will get stuck where there's a defined meta for these different types, but it would give people a place to start, which I could be a good thing.
Yeah, and that specifically matters for the formats in expanded where there aren't any form of friend matches, and also
Right.
GLC because if they add in friend matches for expanded, you still wouldn't be able to do GLC. Again, it's pretty similar. There's just like a few bans. I suppose you could then use an illegal deck, but if you're playing with your friends, like don't do that, right? And
No.
if you're like in a tournament, like that's not gonna work. Your opponent will realize quickly, and you're not gonna be able to like cheat by like playing against someone's like weird singleton deck with your like Goldengo deck or something.
Yeah, so that's true. So you could actually play a Mega Singleton Showdown tournament in Limitless then, right? Because it's in standard. So
Yeah.
it could be done. I don't think it's been done. If you know it's been done,
I think there's been
um,
not the new format, but I think I've seen it with a few of them, like
okay.
singleton or like single fires. I mean, these aren't like new formats to live necessarily. So I've seen some weird format tournaments, and I think I have seen one or two that have gone along with the live format.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't considered that. I was thinking it was not playable, but yeah, it definitely is. So potentially, right? If someone wants to do that. So um anyway, do you have other thoughts about the trainer trials?
Um, I don't know. I think it's cool. I think it's far from perfect. I think implementation wise, it's not good. I mean, it's not like they like failed to implement it, as in it doesn't like physically work, but it just doesn't quite
Right.
do. I think the idea is cool, and the implementation doesn't deliver on that idea. Um, I like what they're trying to do. I hope that they, because we were talking about like a lot of the formats that like have potential but haven't quite lived up to it. Maybe Pokemon's dropping them. I don't know. We're still in like early phase of the trainer trials.
Right.
But ultimately, I think if they keep working at it, it can become something really cool. But we do need to see them keep working at it. Um, I'd say a good starting place would be to give people free decks as well. As much as it can be a little annoying to see the same deck over and over in standard, in the trainer trials, you're just seeing
Right.
nothing because you're not seeing people as much. You're not playing against decks, and you're playing against decks that um are like really rough around the edges. So giving people a starting place, I think, is good for this as things are getting established a little bit.
Yeah, and the issue of it, you'll see it a bunch, but then people that know are comfortable with deck building, they're going to build counter decks pretty quickly. So then you're going to have people will then start adapting their list, right? So I think it wouldn't stay too static. I don't think. I would hope. And the other thing is there isn't really content on the trainer trials on YouTube and online. I don't think, right? So the content creators haven't really adapted it so that there isn't interest in that part of the world, which would also make it, would bring it alive. But I think the reason it's not content is it just hasn't caught on, right? There's not the interest level, unfortunately, at this point. I think we were excited when it first came out, but it's underwhelming, both the formats a little bit and just kind of the lack of interest in it, unfortunately.
Yeah, like I've tried to make some content for it, and there wasn't that much interest, and surprisingly, there wasn't even that much interest in like the GLC stuff. I thought there was going to be a bunch,
Mm.
and there wasn't. GLC is definitely a format. It's like a obviously smaller than standard, but like people do enjoy like looking at content
Yeah.
about it. I enjoy making it. People enjoy watching it, but then like I don't know, GLC and Live honestly just don't. They're very different communities, I think, within the Pokemon TCG. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the train trials. I think it's a step in the right direction with some really cool concepts. It's just not quite there yet.
Yeah, and I'll probably do it's an inexpensive this new one. I'll do each of these formats a little bit, I would imagine. The megas, you only need one mega, so you don't need to craft a bunch of new cards either. So at most you have to craft one. You can use other cards that you basically have in your deck, so in your collection already. So it's not too bad there. I don't want to have to like craft, 20 new cards for like a deck I'm going to play like 1 or 2 days, right? So, but this format certainly doesn't do that. None of these do, because GLC will keep coming back, and then obviously Trick or Treat. If you need 4 switches of 4 rare candies, which you probably don't, that's not a big deal either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you get those to start off with, in like a lot of decks. Um, But anyways,
Yes.
I think there's one more staple card we want to talk about, I think, which you mentioned before the podcast. You want to talk about this is like very different, but I mean, it is related to the new stuff, with the megas, which is Lily's determination, right?
Right. So let me call it up so I can read off the text exactly here. So really, which I think is a super good supporter. I was like playing with my Blissey deck, and I tweaked out the Pokemon, and then I was like, wait, and then I was playing it someone they slapped the lose determination. I'm like, how come I don't have that in my deck? So you shuffle, right, you shuffle your hand into your deck, and then you draw 6 cards. Now I'm surprised that shuffle your hand in your deck. Before they were going to shuffle your hand, put it on the bottom. I think to make IRL play a little more streamlined. So they're going away from that here.
Well, they've done it with what Marnie and Iono, but they also like they still
Yeah,
have Judge and they have
right.
some shuffle into their decks. It's like a lot of the good ones have shuffle put on the bottom, but I mean you're still shuffling your
Y-
deck a lot IRL play anyways, right? So.
That's true. And live, it obviously doesn't matter. So, unless you want to complain about the RNG with it, which I don't think we want to get into.
Yeah. Oh,
And
also I will say
computer,
there were some different plays. Like there's some um like deck hitting can get like interesting and kind of weird when you put stuff on the bottom, which can change things a little, but it's not a huge deal.
right. It gives you more control over what you're drawing potentially, right? You have a bit, it restricts what you can draw. So it might, this way is a little less predictable, and which might be good. You shuffle, then you draw 6 cards. But if you have prize cards remaining, which you'll have at the start of the game, you draw 8 cards. So it's, so I like I was playing a Blissey deck. I had like 2 research, 4 Iono, so I just chucked the 2 research, I chucked 2 Ionos, put 4 lilies in, and it just seems so much better. So my thought is, I think I just need to go through all my decks and just put in 4 lilies determinations in like every deck and drops those other supporters.
Yeah, no, I think it's very good. I mentioned before the podcast that there's a deck that didn't play it, one of my new decks, and that deck is the Tatsugiri Cinderace Snorlax Doll Mulligan's deck. So that's like a special case.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, no, it's really good. I played the main deck I played that's like a good deck. Because obviously I've been playing some stuff that's not as good. Has been what's it called? Cynthia's Garchomp, which has felt amazing to
Okay.
me so far. You haven't played that, right? With the new format.
No, I have not tried it with the new format.
Okay,
No.
I would highly recommend it to anyone because it has like a bunch of items and stuff that are good for it. But also Liz Determination is good. I'd say it's in terms of draw, it's better than Research and Iono, but Iono does Disruption as well. Research is something that'll be drawing you more after you've taken a prize card, and then also does get rid of things into the discard, which can be useful or can be bad. But yeah, Lilius I think is like very good. When I like rank cards. I don't do this all the time, but I did it for the set, and I also ranked like all the best cards in standard, and I had Lily's Determination ranked as the best card in the game, which I think it is very good. I don't think it's problematic slash broken. I think it's a little too good, but I don't know. I don't think it makes the game less fun. It allows you to set up easier. And also the other setup supporter, the main one is Arvin, which gets you very specific pieces.
Yeah.
Lily's Determination does not, right? So in terms of setup, Lily's Determination will not always get what you need.
Yeah, I mean, my thought is if I'm going to play four of those determinations in most almost the vast majority of my decks until it rotates, that's probably too good of a card. Is my general thought. I mean, there's certain item cards that are like maybe four of a lot, but like say Nest Ball, Ultra Ball, but even those aren't. But I wouldn't like complain about that. Those cards, Arvin's, yes, a lot of decks play for Arvin, but not every deck does, right? You need to have, for at least generally, you want to have tools in your deck to play it, right? So usually you don't want it just for the item search. So not every deck's playing tools, so therefore Arvin's not an auto for every deck.
Yeah, wait, so why don't you have an issue with like Nest Ball? Ignoring the fact that like Nest Ball's not like in every card deck or like Ultra Ball by Pop. They're in
No,
most decks though, because I think
yeah,
Lily's is like good. I don't think it's an instant form in any deck in every deck. I think it's pretty good. Should realistically be at least a one of in every deck, and should be played in high counts in almost every deck. But I don't think it's like that's also kind of true with Boss, and there's a few cards like that, like the true staples.
right. Yeah, I mean you're gonna put it in. Maybe I mean generally you're not putting four in, and maybe I'm just wrong about that. What I've been playing works well with four Lily's Determination.
Before the
But maybe
supporters. Yeah.
yeah, of that supporter. So maybe a bunch of decks don't want four of that. At this point, I'm not sure what decks would want Iona over Lilies.
I mean, it's disruption, right? So if you're looking to,
It is.
I mean, there are decks that certainly get hurt by Iona a lot, right?
Some, but at this point, you figure your opponent's playing Pheasantipity, so unless you're a control style deck, they're going to draw three more cards, right?
Yeah, it's
So
not like Iona
plus per
cripples
turn.
them, but it
So
makes it like losing like 3 or 4 cards is like bad.
yeah, I probably then wouldn't. I'm less likely to play a card like Judge. You want Iona for the late game disruption. The Judge, which it obviously is a little different with what it does, so there might still be some situations, but I'm probably less likely to play that. Um, and probably Research becomes a much rarer card because I'm drawing almost the same as Research, if not more, before I take my prizes. So that's really good. And most decks don't want the discard. Obviously, there are those discard decks too, which would then play for Research and might not play Lilies at all.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this works well with more setup based evolution decks, but isn't like I don't know. I think it's kind of cool because I think Arvin's like a good card, but I'm looking forward to like Lily's has some different like play patterns, so I do think it's very good, but I don't think it's problematic. I suppose it's obviously all subjective with like what you think is like fun or not fun, but I like it.
Right. And as I'm thinking about like evolution decks don't like to discard. Is Trick or Treat, we got the four Candy Force switch. I think I'm just chucking in four Lily's Determination as well. I don't think I'd start the deck without that, but maybe I'll have to think about that more as it gets closer. But I think that's a good starting point too in the deck.
Yeah, but overall, I think it's like I don't know. I do kind of like the change. Overall, I think the set's like it has some crazy good trainers in it. Like
Yeah.
fighting's a lot better. Mega Lucario, I think, is a pretty mediocre. You played Mega Lucario in standard, right, or not?
I played it because obviously we have those the fighting challenges, the Mega Lucario. So I've done that. Although I have seen more of the Cynthia's Garchomp in
Oh, you have.
opponent.
Okay.
I have. I've seen that, and obviously that gets a lot better, like you said. So, I don't. Yeah. So I think that is a very good deck now too.
Cynthia's
Um,
or the Lucario.
I think they both are. I think Cynthia's Garchomp is probably the better deck. I would. I think I haven't played it yet, but from playing against it, I think that's the one that I think I need to start working on soon because obviously the fighting stuff made it really good, which I like. Fighting was was okay, but it wasn't amazing. So therefore, boosting fighting I think is good for the game. And even if I feel a little fussy about lose determination, it does make things more consistent and set up better, and that is good for the game.
Yeah, I'll also mention another. It's not technically a fighting deck, but it's playing the new fighting stuff. Is Sarila GX playing the Luantone Solrock to
Yeah.
get more fightings in the discard, which is interesting as like a draw engine there, which I've seen a bunch of.
Yeah, and oh, that's true. I'm glad to get another single prize engine that you can play too, because I think single prize engines are good for the game. I don't know in general how much I like it because it's 2 cards for the engine. So, but it's nice having that as an option too. And definitely does have value for sure.
Yeah, but overall, I think Mega Evolution with live and outside of live, I think it's cool so far. I've heard a lot of positive things. I know you were a little worried about the megas, right? The three prizers.
Yeah, yeah. At this point, the megas aren't overwhelming. Most people don't have the megas yet. Now you can craft them relatively cheaply, but depending, unless you have a well-established account, you got to kind of hold up to get things. So I think as we see more megas in play, we'll see what happens, but I think it's going to be okay. It's probably the question is down the line, do things get more oppressive if and when as the megas get better that they put out?
Yeah, but so far, with the ones we've seen standard and the ones that actually, because the second set actually just dropped in Japan the same day that the first set dropped internationally, they've been
Yeah.
doing like fair, I think. So I'm pretty happy with them, and I'm happy with the direction Live's going in, but it's certainly far from perfect. But tell us down below in the comment section what your thoughts are on this the live update and the new set and all that good stuff. But also make sure you check us out on YouTube or podcasting platforms, youtube.com/@10types or Uncommon Fossil, and like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But we hope you enjoyed, and as always, we're excited to see you in the next episode.
Take care.